and welcome to another episode of Anyah Uncensored. Happy New Year, guys. This is our first podcast episode for the new year. I just want to wish you guys, I want to wish you guys a happy new year again, sorry. And I also wish that this holiday was good for you. And that this year, 2022, is very prosperous for each and every one of you. Because I can honestly say 2021 was not it. Like, I'm pretty sure I said this last time that 2020 was not it, but 2021 was not it either. But I think that this year in particular, we are going to have to claim it as our year, especially now, because I feel like everything was put off because of the panoramic. But now I think we have to stop making excuses. Like, we definitely have to stop making excuses for what's been going on, because at this rate, it doesn't look like this situation is going to change anytime soon. But yes, it feels good to be back. I know I really didn't do that many like podcast episodes last year. This year, that's definitely going to change. I am literally speaking it into being, as well as I'm going to hold myself accountable when that doesn't happen. But we soon get into that. Before we start, this week's body drink is some lemonade. So as you guys can see right here, I have my metal straw I got from my girl Lee. I'm going to tag her business right here so you guys can literally go and support, because plastic straws are not cutting it anymore, and especially these new paper straws are not cutting it, because as soon as you put them in your juice, they literally dissolve in seconds. So metal straws are the way to go. So yeah, as you guys know, I take a sip together or whatever. So yeah, how have you guys been? Like, what's been going on with you guys? As you guys can see, I'm trying out a new hairstyle today. I don't know if this is gonna be something I do again, but I felt like I did not feel like combing my hair today. Like, I really did not feel like doing too much. I'm just like, you know what, this is how I'm going on today. You guys take it or y'all leave it. But let me know what you guys think of this new hairstyle. Maybe I might do it again, who knows. But life update, what's been happening with your girl. What has been happening with me, honestly? I've been working through my issues. Well, I'm attempting to work through my issues. So that's been on my agenda since the year has started. And I have also finished school officially. So I'm done with university until further notice. I haven't been awarded my degree as yet. That's a chapter in my life that's closed now. And also I have another big, it's a big secret because I haven't really mentioned it. I am planning on starting a new podcast. Yes, I know. But this podcast is going to be a true crime podcast because for those of you who don't know, I am actually a criminology minor. And I am super interested in true crime. I've literally always been interested in true crime. And I just felt like I want to make a true crime podcast. And I still want to have Anyah Uncensored at the same time. And the reason for creating this whole new podcast is that the way how Anyah Uncensored was set up, it wasn't based on true crime. So I don't want to now bombard everyone who's been listening to the podcast and say, oh, well, I'm forget Anyah Uncensored and just go into straight true crime. I'm not gonna do that, because this is a sentimental moment here. This is our second year doing the podcast, so happy 2-year anniversary to Anyah Uncensored. But when I started this podcast, literally my aim was to help young people just like me, going through, like, literally me growing up and learning certain things about life that I probably didn't know or probably didn't have to think about, because you never reached in a situation yet, but when you reach in a situation, you say, Jesus crime, like, those are things that I wanted to do. Like, that was my aim for Anyah Uncensored. And I've met a whole lot of people because of this podcast. Like I have lit over the 2 years, I've met a lot of people because of this podcast. And I don't think I want to, well, I don't, not even I don't think, I don't want to stop it, because seeing people or hearing people come to me and say, you know, that I listen to your podcast, like literally, that actually gets me super nervous. Like when people tell that they're going to listen to my podcast, it gets me super, super nervous. But knowing that it has been able, like this podcast on a whole has been able to help people, makes me not want to stop it and makes me not want to scrap it. My only issue is that sometimes I really don't have that much inspiration for like the podcast, but it's not a case where I don't want to do it and I'm going to scrap it completely. But yeah, and then also on top of that too, true crime, I feel like it's not for my demographic, like for my current audience right now. I don't know if true crime would suit my current demographic, but yeah. So that's the conclusion I've come up with, that I'm passionate about true crime as well. So I want to start a true crime podcast. I'm not going to put a time frame on when it's going to come out, but it's going to come out very, very soon. I've been making a lot of effort and taking a lot of strides in order for me to reach to this point now where I'm able to share it with you guys. So literally it's coming very soon, before summertime. Probably, yeah, like before summertime, I will have this podcast out. I'm still in the planning stages because I'm not really sure of what I want to call it yet. So that's kind of slowing up the process, because I want to find a name that is going to grab people at the same time, but also have a level, like a concept to it, you know? Like, you know how Anyah Uncensored, I have the body drink, stuff like that. Like, I make sure that I have a body drink all the time. So it's like, you know, we can drink our drinks together, listen to the podcast, stuff like that. Like, I want to create a relationship like that with this new podcast. So I'm still trying to figure out the logistics of that aspect as to what else I'm going to do. Like, if I'm gonna drink something, drink some champagne, drink some wine, cook, stuff like that. I'm trying to figure that stuff out. But yeah, I know for a fact that by June, the latest, you guys will have the True Crime podcast for those of you guys who are interested. And I'm super excited. I love sharing my new projects with you guys. And yeah, so I'm excited for that. Also, what's been heavy on my noggin is I am actually wondering if I need to get a co-host for Anyah Uncensored, because I think having to record like by myself, sometimes it can be a lot, because having someone else giving their own, like their separate opinion, that's kind of where I'm leaning towards right now, especially now because I haven't really been that inspired, and I'm getting to the stage where I am like, okay, well, can I do this episode by myself? And I'm just like, nah, I really need a guest and stuff like that. So I'm thinking about that. I'm honestly trying to figure out how I'm going to do this and who I'm going to have on the podcast, because I also have to find someone who has a flexible enough schedule right now that if I'm going to start with them, they're the person I'm going to start with. I'm not going to have to shift to someone else. Like that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm really in limbo, and I want to make sure that anyone that I'm carrying onto my podcast is someone who is also comfortable on the camera, but at the same time that you, my listeners, are also comfortable with. So I'm really in a little predicament right there, but not really a main priority right now, but it's literally just a thought, and I felt like I should also express that to you guys, that it really is a thought. I also feel like in honor of us being in a new year, I think I want to discuss like New Year's resolutions, and not even just my own New Year's resolutions, but what I feel like New Year's resolutions actually mean. I tend to realize now that like stepping into 2022, I realize I don't like the concept of New Year's resolutions. Why? As in, I would always say, okay, well, yeah, I must set a New Year's resolution, blah, blah, blah. But I never really got to the stage of actually like carrying them out. Like the year would start and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna set this New Year's resolution, but I wasn't strategically sticking to it. Well, that's just for me, but I know other people who have set New Year's resolutions for themselves and they're doing perfectly fine. It's a concept that works for them, but I also think that you have to realize that if you do say, okay, I want to do a New Year's resolution, are you actually keeping up with your New Year's resolution? And I just realized that that wasn't for me. Instead, I chose to do a vision board, but I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. How I see it too, especially with New Year's resolutions, is I get that New Year's resolutions mean new year, new beginnings, but I don't know if it's just for me. I felt like I was procrastinating when I made those New Year's resolutions. And to me, procrastination is the thief of all success. Because if you keep telling yourself, oh, I'm going to do this then, or I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait until a new year to start this, or I'm going to wait until a new year to start that. Why not start now? What's wrong with starting now? Why do you have to, like, especially if it's something that you know that you don't have to wait to do? Why wait? Why tell yourself that, okay, well, the year is soon done, so I can't do this right now, let me go start the new year with a bang? Why not end the year on a bang? Why must we always feel like a new year signifies a new concept of life? Like, you're living your life every single day. Like, you're doing all these things every single day. You're going to work, you're going to school, you're doing all these things. And why wait for a new year to better yourself? Why does it take a whole year around the sun to better yourself? Why not start now? And I get it. I definitely get it, but I don't think that concept works for everyone. And I also feel like we have to listen to ourselves and realize that not everything that people are stating that works for them is going to work for you. Why limit yourself? That's the main question. Why do you limit yourself, or why do you want to limit yourself? And that's an honest question you're going to have to reflect on, because you're the only one that's going to know that. You're the only one that's going to be able to provide yourself with that answer. And then this is a question I want you guys to ponder on. How many of us are guilty of setting these goals for ourselves at the start of the year and realizing that you haven't even accomplished at least half or at least a quarter of those goals that you've set? I'm not going to come here and say, oh, every single thing you have set out for the year you must achieve, blah, blah, blah. But we have to also think about the steps that we are taking to achieve these goals. And to realize the fact that not everything is going to go our way. And that is one thing I can say that I still struggle with, but I want to make changes to accommodate that. I have a style about myself where I know, say, if I set out to do something today, it has to get done today. It cannot be a case where, oh, well, I have to wait on this or I have to wait on that. Your girl have no patience, like I said before, and I like to get things done right away. I like to hit the nail on the head right as I'm able to. So having to wait to attain a certain goal or reach to a level of attaining that goal, I don't know how to manage that. As I go along, I tend to realize I need to acknowledge my self-destructive habits that are leading to me either procrastinating, not achieving my goal, or not achieving my goal in a strategic way. And maintaining a level of discipline is definitely one thing that you're going to have to think about, especially if you want to achieve a certain goal. I'm not going to share with you guys about my vision board. I don't know what came up in me this year. I just said I want to do a vision board. And I wanted to make a huge project out of my vision board. I didn't want a digital vision board. I wanted a physical one, because I felt like having it up in my room and being able to see it every day and tell myself, okay, well, if I have eat healthier on my vision board, I look at myself today and say, hey, did you accomplish that goal today? Did you exercise this morning? Sure to take care of yourself, because self-care is definitely one thing I feel like I've been neglecting for myself, and that's one thing on my vision board I can say that I am working on actively at the moment. Every single day I make sure to take care of myself and listen to my body, and realize that sometimes you really have to take a step back and be content with the stillness. We are also consumed in the activeness of life, like having to do this, having to go there, do this, do that, have to, like, we're not forced to be content with the stillness. Like, we're not forced to have to be laid up in our own thoughts sometimes. And I am definitely guilty of that, of not listening to myself and not being content with the stillness, because when I'm in my still stage in my life, I tend to just fall apart. Honestly, when I'm not actively doing something, I tend to fall apart because I don't know how to be in a still state. I'm always active, and I've said this to you guys multiple times, that like I'm always doing something. It's like only when I take the time off to realize that, hey, you need to actually rest, or you need to change up your environment, stuff like that, I don't do it. And that's what I think my vision board is going to help me with this year. I want to also make sure that I'm getting to the stage where I don't let things ruin my day to the point where I cannot function for the rest of the day. And I've always noticed that about myself. Like, when I'm in a mood, I can't do nothing. Like, I genuinely can't do anything. And I'm getting to the stage right now where I've acknowledged that that's a problem, because it shows in my work. I can literally count on one hand how many podcast episodes I've done in 2021. And I left 2020 saying that 2021 is going to be my year. And I feel like I just slacked off. I felt like I needed to find a place where I could just be still, work, like motivate myself, and just be dedicated to what I love. And that's something I'm planning to work on. I'm not able to give a time frame as to when that's going to happen, but I'm going to work on that, because I cannot allow things to affect me that much. I can't allow especially minor things to affect me that much. And I have had this discussion recently that I just don't know how to cope with certain things, and I don't know how to communicate my emotions. And that is something that I'm also planning to work on. That's my thing now. You can't put a time frame on self-healing, but acknowledging that you have an issue and making sure that you are reminding yourself every day that, hey, this is a serious problem that needs to be changed, is a completely different thing. So you have to realize that you have a problem, acknowledge that you have a problem, but still want to make the change at the end of the day to better yourself. And lastly, something I want to touch on that really resonated with me was this interview with Molly May, where she was discussing the fact that everyone has the same 24 hours in the day. Yeah, Rushcam also touched on it too, and he raised some very good points as well. In theory, everyone does have the same 24 hours, but not everyone has the same resources, abilities, nor environment to have the same 24 hours out of the day, if you get what I'm saying. In theory, yes, but based off of life experiences, the resources that each person has, your 24 hours is going to be completely different from someone who is literally in a first world country, especially based on the fact that not everyone has the same opportunities. You cannot compare a business owner in America in comparison to a business owner in Jamaica. First of all, customs fees alone, right? you can literally, as a business owner in America, you can literally order something, it comes to your doorstep right away. This is the end of Anyah Uncensored. I want to thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends and family. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcast, make sure you guys go and rate the podcast. I would greatly appreciate it. And just keep sharing it with your friends because your girl is back. This week's song of the episode is Born Fighter by Joshi. Okay, bye guys.